turns to sun rays, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left.
Lions roaring in the morning sun, searching for a longer day. People feeling like the light has just come. We must never stop the way. Yeah. Birds jumping and I hear my name, grasping into a life. Life is happy but it's so insane. We must merely make a start. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a roll. Savannah.
Oke lanjut. Ada yang main mau leng?
Dan nikmati pertunjukannya.
Oh beak benang gue bentot nah. Si Bogel kan main. Kita mabar dulu MPL MY Malaysia nya nanti 6:30 cok. Final PMS versus SRG Selangor Red Giant. Lanjut. Ben Haya Makassar, ih GG tuh. Kamus gol. Bebas apa aja gasken. Ayo Ramadan.
Sang makhluk abadi memilihku untuk membasmi kejahatan yang mengacaukan dunia ini.
Anjir GG. Kamus rom sih. Lu mau apa pi kelek masa Aldo Cyper. SRG PMS nanti bis maghrib ya. Jadi kita mabar dulu untuk ini bis maghrib kakak. Bentar habis kita main dulu sebentar, kurang lebih 20 menitan lagi lah untuk RRSG versus PMS lagi biasa, lagi bacot ria. Bingung gua.
Aku sudah menunggu terlalu lama.
Grand final masih 20 menitan lagi, nanti di sini smart juga kuat lah ya buat MPL MY. Nanti sekarang lagi biasa, lagi award-awardan dulu untuk di MPL Malaysia nya. Tuh slow aja.
Pilihan ada di tanganku.
Slow aja kita pengen pakai ini apa ya? Ya, astagfirullahaladzim. Lanjut untuk MPL Malaysia nanti 5:30. Jaki ikut di sini, rasanya gue live MPL dulu deh, soalnya lagi final di Malaysia, SRG lawan PMS nanti bis maghrib atau 20 menitan lagi, soalnya lagi award. Jaki kayaknya satu match dulu deh. Soalnya final resep.
5 seconds till the enemy reaches the battlefield. Smash them. All troops deployed.
Saat sudah tiba, bulan baru mendekat. Jalanku
Lagi
sebagai
final,
pembunuh,
ini masih rapi, Bi.
rendah hati, berwibawa
Ini sama si
dan
Rapi
tulus.
yang Aldos ya.
Inilah busurku, simpel dan fleksibel.
First blood.
Demi Azria, rumah terakhir kami.
Request backup. Understood. Initiate retreat.
Panahku adalah jawaban.
Lagi final, lu kagak.
An enemy has been slain.
Nice. Masih
Bulan menyinari setiap sudut hutan ini dengan indah. Jah. Jah.
Launch attack. Understood.
Inilah panahku, cepat, tepat.
tolong.
Retreat backup. Okay.
Bisa RT Bang teh.
Bulannya.
Bisa ikut, ayo.
Enemy has been slain.
Aku siap untuk bertarung lagi.
Request backup. Gather up the turtle. Retreat. Understood. An ally has been slain. Request backup. Okay.
Elf tidak akan menyerah. Tak peduli berapa banyak penderitaan yang harus
Initiate
dilewati.
retreat. Understood. Gather up the turtle. Gather up the turtle. Okay. Has been slain. The enemy has slain the turtle. Has been slain. Ha!
Para penjahat
Buset, dipakai ultinya tuh.
mengampuni kalian.
Ally has been slain.
Meskipun hutan ini terbakar dan cahaya bulan meredup, harapan kami akan tetap ada. Menghilang ke dalam cahaya rembulan.
Initiate retreat.
Serang tuh.
Understood. Initiate retreat. Request backup. Okay.
Sampai bulan baru menerangi kita lagi, aku akan terus berjuang.
Initiate retreat. Launch
Hadiah
attack.
dari hutan yang agung.
Initiate retreat. Understood. Ally has been slain. Initiate retreat. You have slain an enemy. Have been slain.
Bulannya. Aku siap untuk bertarung lagi.
Kali dressnya banner dah, mundur kakak.
Initiate retreat. Okay.
4.000 tuh.
Initiate retreat. Okay. Request back. Understood.
Hati-hati.
Request back. Initiate retreat. Okay. Understood. Request backup.
baru menerangi kita lagi, aku akan terus berjuang.
Request backup. Turret has been destroyed. Initiate retreat.
Cepat, tepat, dan sengit.
Initiate retreat. Okay.
Panahku adalah jawabanku.
Understood.
Set.
Down. Initiate retreat.
Aku siap untuk bertarung lagi.
Request backup. Initiate
Understood.
retreat. Our turret has been destroyed.
Demi Satria.
Initiate retreat.
Understood.
Initiate retreat.
Meskipun hutan ini terbakar dan cahaya bulan meredup, harapan kami akan tetap ada. Pilihan yang bijak. Elf tidak akan
Our
menyerah.
turret has been
Tak peduli
destroyed.
berapa banyak penderitaan yang harus dilewati.
Unstoppable.
Semoga cahaya bulan selalu menyinari kita.
Initiate retreat. Enemy has slain the turret.
Understood.
Initiate retreat.
Mundur sejenak.
Initiate retreat. Ally has been
Susah cuy, itu CRT cuy.
Inilah busukku. Simple dan fleksibel.
backup. Initiate retreat. Okay. Your team destroyed a turret. Initiate retreat.
Understood.
Our turret is under attack. Request backup.
Understood.
Turret has launched attack.
Dengan ini,
Understood.
Our inhibitor turret is under attack.
didikanku selalu tepat sasaran.
Initiate retreat.
Sabar dulu cuy, sabar dulu cuy.
Initiate retreat. Okay.
Kau tidak bisa lari dari panahku.
Request backup. Our turret is under attack.
Cahaya bulan menyembuhkan lukaku.
Our turret has been destroyed. Enemy godlike.
Cahaya rembulan tidak mengampuni musuh Adria.
Initiate retreat. Double kill. Our turret is under attack.
Triple lagi. Duh, gila.
Hang in there. Gather up the Lord.
Pok, ngopi pok,
Our
ngopi. Hujan
turret
nggak pok?
has been destroyed.
Rawang hujan, oi.
Launch attack.
Bulan baru
Initiate
menerangi
retreat.
kita lagi, aku akan terus berjuang.
Okay.
Hadiah dari hutan yang agung. Hutan ini hilang ke dalam cahaya rembulan. Ya.
Initiate retreat.
Cepat, tepat, dan
Kita kalau dulu cuy, sabar dulu cuy.
Launch attack. Okay, initiate retreat.
inilah busurku. Simple dan fleksibel.
Tuh, kata cuy, bener ada ulti cuy.
Initiate retreat.
Ayah.
Slain more.
Rainbow, kita pakai critical kan? Padahal minta hujan 2 minggu cuma bercanda. Iya, makanya jangan sama ngomong lah kelek. Ini hujan baru reda pop.
Initiate retreat.
Jalanku sebagai pembuka
Inhibitor turret is under attack.
berwibawa dan tulus.
Our inhibitor turret is under attack.
Berhati-hati.
Enemy attack phase. Our inhibitor turret is under attack. Ally has been killing spree. Been destroyed. Request.
Oh,
Our base is under attack.
PMS teh TODAK bukan ya?
Turret is under attack.
Aduh. Starting, mulai Pi, kamu hemat 3,5 GB. BO7, gas. Dulu gelap terus di gue, tadi mendung jam 2 mah, cuma baru sekarang hujannya. Tapi alhamdulillah ada adem lah. Kemarin kan malam tuh panas banget kok.
I know you're a dad, it's some kind of magic. We both know it right away. I came here to party, don't want it to end. Getting real ecstatic, we both know it right away. When I see you dancing, I know
Season
you're a
14, playoffs day number 4 already under its way. And most importantly, the award ceremony is finally done, so the grand finals is the last thing that we have to cover. My name's Gideon Q, and introducing the desk with me today, we have our panel with, of course, MPL SG. Introducing Abstract as well as Churros here on the desk. How you boys feeling today?
One thing's for sure, I am definitely happy because this is MPL SG Takeover. There's definitely one thing but this grand finals, the way that it's all set up, absolutely flawless and amazing.
Yeah, you're taking all the words out of my mouth. This is electrifying. The entire stadium filled with people from Johor, and not only the people of Malaysia watching, the world is watching, because this is going to be the last grand finals of all the MPLs of all the regions, and I can't wait for it.
It's an exciting time. Today, we have both SRG as well as Vamos in a best-of-7 matchup, a true test of skill, and most importantly, this is not a sprint, it is a marathon. We're expecting changes to happen in the middle of the game, most importantly, adaptation to really wonder which is going to be better during M6.
Of course, this is all going to be a testament of how Malaysia is gonna fare.
Sorry, solo aja Pi, kita main hepan aja, kita mah slow baik. Mau mulai Pi, pinanya Pi.
They conquered the upper brackets, and that is definitely something that we cannot underestimate.
Finalnya mau mulai, jadi
honestly though,
kita
the way I'm looking at it, both teams have actually
break dulu mabarnya ya.
Zorn, the Chibi, the entire lineup from Vamos.
Udah mau mulai final PMS versus RSG.
And I want to see like
Jagoan
how
kalian
well,
mana
how
nih?
far you can go with SRG coming into the international stage. Remember, both teams already have the M6 slot, so which one will be better?
The truth is, there is a lot of history coming into this. The first time ever, or the first of many. We could potentially see from SRG the first back-to-back champions in MPL MY, which has not been done in our history. The closest we've gotten is when we were still MYSG, and unfortunately, EVOS SG stole that away from TODAK MY.
Well, you're welcome.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
We're building up the storyline all the way from the start to the
Selangor
end
Jalian
until today,
versus
season
TNI.
14. We want to see the back-to-back
PMS
champions
versus
for sure.
SRG,
However,
ya.
Vamos, we have talked about them many times before. They are quite a contender, and they are building up a legacy here.
Yeah, honestly though, this is just a start for not only SRG.
Lanjut jam setengah 7 kan bang, gimana nanti? Udah selesai ini ya, soalnya BO7 ini kan final sih. Final kan BO7. Kita lihat nanti aja. Sholat dulu aja yang penting. Sholat dulu, bentar lagi maghrib. Oh maghrib 47 menit lagi masih lama kok.
But more importantly, all of the members coming in from Mamas, with the only exception being Nets, hasn't touched an MPL MY trophy before. So if they
Ini
win
banyak
this
juara
will
baru
technically
di
be the
MPL.
first win
Apakah
for their
PMS akan
organization.
mendapatkan juara lagi ataukah kembali SR aja?
So Vamos definitely will have this idea. Look, Nets, you may claim that you are the best goal laner in PH, but we are going to be helping you to get the MPL MY trophy.
I don't know, at this point he might be considered Malaysian at this point.
He did a lot of PM, so let's be honest here.
He did. But what do you think about the imports generally, right? Both teams are going to have like imports of their own, but the one big difference here are going to be the junglers. Pull it up, because right now the jungler showdown between Sakai's and as well as Chibi is looking neck and neck.
The very strong.
Ini pertandingan antara PMS versus SRG ya, SRG. Selangor Giant. Sium, Romario.
Heroes, if I could say. Sakai's actually changed his hero pool quite a lot. We talked about adaptability yesterday, and he hasn't picked up the Fanny or the Ling ever since. He's always going back to the studio, always going back to the
Mereka mainnya nyantai
Right
loh.
now, Chibi
Di
needs
apa ya?
to be able to adapt to that situation.
Salah satu punya nyantai, tapi gini ya buset,
Bring
ampun
out
dah.
another new flavor in the jungle for Vamos.
I'm worried about that too, right? Because again, if he's willing to bring out Martis, I feel like he's willing to bring out Paquito. If he's willing to bring out
Kalau
I'm sure he wants to play
sadis,
Leopard. So it's just an never-ending cycle for them. Now, I will say at the very least, Sakai's may look slightly better, but that's purely on the performance, his like high-end performance of Ling.
Yeah.
But I think one thing that we need to remember also the fact that they managed to show a little bit of weakness when it came down to the assassin games that we saw them fighting against TODAK. However, they did reclaim themselves with the Suyo, with the Alpha. One thing's for sure, Sakai's looking very dominating, and he's really scary when he's rocking these two heroes. And I honestly think that Vamos might want to respect that. Like, if you play these two heroes, we might be afraid. So why not we take it away? That could be the direction we'll be looking out for during the drafting phase.
Well, I would like to believe you, but at the same time, mid laners have been
Bagus,
such a
jago ya.
huge issue. The
Hero baru
the
Susano.
Loyi, and of course, the Yi.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. And honestly, though, Stormy as well as Warlord has been playing a heck of a game with both these heroes. So expect the mage picks to be highly contested on both sides. But I want to go back to Sakai's. We talked about this yesterday off the stream, and it kind of seems like Sakai's kind of does better if Fran does well. So Selangor Red Giants likes to bring in that EXP lane into a lot of these team fights, especially heightening the aggression in the early game. So whether or not Fran will be on form today is really up to
TODAK yang bisa juara kayak
of SRG.
Alah
For the side
tuh,
of,
finalnya bukan TODAK
for the side of
lagi.
Vamos, though, it's all down to Zorn, and he's been playing so aggressively. He's such an annoyance, especially in the jungle, and Sakai really has to watch out for him.
But here's the thing, I've seen GB for a while. The way that he plays it, even on the international international stage during MSC. Prior to that, even in M5, the big difference is that Zorn or not, EXP or not, he will try to hard carry this game, even if 4 of his members are dead weight. And I'm hoping that they're not going to be dead weight this time around.
I mean, let's draw some parallels to the Dream Team, right? As much as I don't want to say this, that is quite literally, the Dream Team is, well, SRG featuring Zorn, right?
Yeah.
It definitely speaks volume that what kind of person Zorn is, what kind of player Zorn really is.
It really just goes to show that you need the right mix of players to make it work. I'm nervous for them. I'm very, very nervous for them. But here on the panel, you can feel the energy from the crowd. Everybody's in anticipation for this game. Unfortunately, we don't have lights for specifically the crowd, but they're pushed up all the way to the caster's bus. That's how packed it is here today at Edu City. So come on down. If you are in Malaysia, specifically in Johor Bahru, please check out the show. For our international viewers, don't worry. We got you guys covered with full coverage of the game. We got casters as well. So when we get into the game, we'll throw it over to them. But in the meantime, at least we get to talk a little bit more about this matchup, because I feel like no matter who wins this, yes, it's a good title, but they've already succeeded in qualifying to M6. So how do we, as the Malaysians, fare up against this star-studded lineup of M6 representatives?
You know, to be honest though, SRG or Vamos, they have not faced up against either of these new teams because it's all totally new, and there's not the same, like, a team that is the same that entered the MSC into M6. So from the Philippines and Indonesia, Fnatic Onyx PH, Aurora Gaming, Team Liquid ID, RRQ Hoshi, this is their first time in international stages this year. So it's really, really hard to tell.
I find it really nice to see the fact that when it comes down to the Philippine side and the Indonesian side, we have been looking at kind of like a dark horse run, right? The ones that we are looking out for didn't qualify. While in the meantime, for the side of Malaysia, this is the result that we are expecting. That also speaks volume as to how M6 is gonna look like. So at least for my prediction, we know for sure Selangor Red Giants will make it far. As much as I don't want to cast a curse this, but facts be facts. SRG, they will be dominating in the M6, given all of these teams may be slightly less experienced than SRG themselves.
Yeah, you know, I gotta agree with you. And we talked about this in MPL Singapore, where like facing up against local teams is very different from facing up against international teams. And it sort of feels like SRG is built for international tournaments. That's why they needed to adapt to TODAK and that loss, because they were very, very focused on the late game, very focused on the macro decisions, but not the micro adaptations that come into play when they face up against the local teams, especially for Vamos. If Vamos can take TODAK out, and TODAK really, really struggled against Vamos, it really shows that the level of competence from both teams is kind of equal.
I say it's tough to say that it's kind of equal, because keep in mind that the M6 format is going to be a Swiss format. Best of ones, 3 wins, you move on, 3 losses, you're out. And I'm looking at teams like, you know, S2G, for an example, who surprised us all, taking down Fireflux, now called Uffenheim, as they move on to that next round. BTK, another underdog.
BTK! No, if you know me, it's a personal thing.
That's fair.
It is.
But also there are veterans, Team Spirit, and even Falcon once again going to make their attempt at the M6.
Honestly, being a Swiss round, this is where I have absolutely no idea how things are gonna be like to a certain extent, right? Because imagine if TODAK is the one that actually makes it to M6, I think that they will have a pretty good run in the Swiss stage itself because of how unpredictable you are. So unpredictability may be something that is really nice to watch.
Speaking of wildcard teams, actually, and also surprises, here are our list of wildcard teams who have already made it. RRQ Akira, Geekay Esports, Nightmare Esports, Legion Esports, Incilio, Ufnar, man, I gotta say that better, the Mongols, and DFYG. Now, the wildcards, of course, this time around Malaysia doesn't have to go through it, thank God. But the competition is looking really, really steep. I'm expecting Ufnar at the minimum to make it out of there with no issues whatsoever. But then it's a bit of a roll of the dice, because we do have other...
RRQ Akira.
Exactly.
They've always been in international stages. MSC, M5, M4, M3. We've always seen them in the main stage. I don't know if they have roster shifts. Do you remember if they have any? But they have always been the same team. team, and they've always shown consistency, and that's what I think most of these wildcard teams need. Most are new teams, so rookies are coming up as well, but RQ being the mainstay, having that composition to stay within their synergies, to stay within the same team, it really shows the level of growth that they have for their region.
Honestly, growth is a topic that I really want to talk about, right? Because that's the great point. RQ Akira, they have pretty much been sort of the baseline of how you want to get yourself into the internationals. Although RQ Akira didn't really make it very far, but I will say that they are what it takes in order for a team to be an international team. I will say that if you want to go internationals, yeah, RQ Akira is a team you may potentially want to, kind of compare yourself as to how you will fare if you ever go there.
Oh, what about NIP Flash? I feel like
NIP Flash is way past that.
Yeah.
NIP Flash, way past that.
I had to take a jab.
You had to, but yeah.
Oh man, come on. It was low-hanging fruit. I had to. Now, let me explain to you the M6 Swiss format, because teams are randomly paired in the first round and play a best-of-1 matchup. If this looks confusing, don't worry. The baseline of it is that every team will need at least 3 wins to move on to the next round. It doesn't matter how many losses, unless you have 3 losses, that's when you get eliminated. Every single time they move to the next stage, they will randomly pick with teams who have also won or also lost with the same scoreline as them until we finally filter it down to the very last.
You know, it's interesting because with this Swiss format, we might see a Malaysian versus Malaysian matchup.
Exactly.
And this might be foreshadowing the
No.
I don't want to go that way, but like...
I'm helping you. No.
Yeah. I'm with Singapore on this one. You guys only got 1 team, so it's like, that's all I'm going to go with. Don't have to play against countrymen.
Oh my goodness. That's kind of what makes it so exciting as well.
I actually want to put Abstract on the spot. Like,
what?
I'm with Gideon here. I'm technically a Malaysian. Actually, not really, but like, technically.
Shut up.
What team do you want NIP Flash to face off against?
Wow. Honestly, there's like the first half that I don't want NIP Flash to face against, and the second half that I don't want NIP Flash to face against.
Come on, say it. Say it. Vamos. SRG.
I refuse. Okay, one thing for sure. I refuse to see Singapore face off against Malaysia.
Ooh.
Because we are such a macro-based team.
That's Civil War. Actually,
No.
backstage we had a talent versus talent production.
This is a skill issue. This is a skill issue, okay?
Who won?
Singapore won, okay? We reclaimed our land.
We did.
No, we claimed the piece of small little land. Husky is just giving me a death stare right on the side.
He's giving a death stare.
I'm pretty sure the Malaysians weren't too happy about that loss amongst their talents. Don't worry. It's 1-0. It's a best of 3. You can bounce back from that one. But let's pull it back here a little.
Okay.
Well, I like to talk about the Swiss format, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because honestly, when it comes down to like a team, when you first comes down to the first stage, if you win the first game, you will fight against teams that won the first game. You won't be facing off against teams that have lost whatsoever. So it's a very fair match all the way through. If you lost the first 2 games, then you're gonna have to win the next 3 games.
Yeah. Honestly, though, there are some teams that work better on a best of 3. In the best of 1, you pull out all the stops. There's no time for adaptation. You have to adapt on the fly, have to adapt in the game itself, and with the draft that your coach has picked for you. So it speaks a lot of the players themselves, the mentality going into the games in the Swiss format.
All right, let's pull it back to our locality, our grand finals for today. Our very first M6 qualified team, Vamos, from the upper brackets, starring Warlord, Smooth, Chibi, Zorn, and Nets.
As much as I want to ping a lot of the attention over to the side of Zorn, understandably, every single one of these players have made very great changes, and they, of course, gel together as an amazing team. Chibi himself is a pillar of support from the side of Vamos. Understandably, without the help of Zorn, without the help of Chibi, I will say that the rest of the players, Smooth, Warlord, as well as Nets, they may definitely have a little bit of issue, but Nets, boy oh boy, great insurance policy.
I mean, they're great, of course, but we also have to talk about the Selangor Red Giants, featuring Stormy, Cram, Sakai's, Yums, and Innocent, our current world champions.
You know, we talked about this in Singapore. The same team that stays together wins games, because that's the experience that you need when you're playing against your brothers. And right now, Selangor Red Giants, they're looking like family. Every single team fight, they're always together. They're always playing like 5. And it's going to be hard if you want to break down the main damage dealers of the rest of the team. It's going to be super strong within the entirety of that game. The fact of the matter is, I want to add on to Abstract's point. For Vamos to actually win this game, no doubt their fundamentals are good. They need to have discipline. I remember that one kill for Chibi was chasing the Sicilian. And he basically like, okay, I want to ego challenge that. I want to at least get a maniac, but you know, that's just rough on that game.
What was it, like a 2K bounty at that point?
It was.
Bounties we've seen, he was like,
Yeah, that was 8 kill.
one.
It was the 8 kill bounty.
I was an 8 kill bounty.
8 kill bounty.
Oh,
I was
the Skypiercer max stacks.
Hey,
To anyone but the Sicilian.
it's tough. It honestly really is tough to see some of these teams actually, you know, not make it to this point. But at the cost of these teams getting better and to make sure that Malaysia is looking good for the internationals, I hope that you guys in the audience can quickly join the fight. If you missed out that QR code, pull it back and use that code. Make sure you get some in-game goodies while you're watching the MPL MY. But coming back into this, I do think that, you know, SRG is in a pretty unique position. Previously, and based on what I've heard from the coaching staff, they had a different preparation for the playoffs. But all of a sudden, when they lost to TODAK, something snapped inside them. They had to sit down and then they had to think, we need to make some major adjustments, which is what we saw when they decided to come back into form.
I think that that's very nice to see because it's all about psychology as well, right? It's not all just about the game. It's not about who's got the greatest mechanic and all that kind of stuff. You gotta have a team that could work together. And of course, if there's certain kind of grudges, like based on the previous game, yeah, you didn't do a certain thing, I'm gonna hold on to that grudge and I can't let it go. Until you have a trash out session, they identify one problem at a time and then they go for a complete reset.
Yeah, I want to bring back that quote that I shared yesterday. The wolf on top of the hill is not as hungry as the wolf climbing it. We all thought the SRG was on top of the hill with that win in MSC. You've got a lot of money. You're fine. You've got a lot of salary. You can buy that new Lamborghini or the new Ducati that you want. But SRG is proving to us that there's still that wolf climbing the hill because M6, the coveted M6 in home ground in KL, is that creme de la creme, that trophy that they want to lift up.
It's true, it almost was full circle had TODAK qualified for M6, but man, I'm glad that we have these two as our representatives. Malaysian MLBB has continued to evolve and continue to push the limits of what the world expects from us. With that being said, with just a few seconds left, let us introduce you our two M6 qualifiers here in the grand finals.
Lions roaring in the morning sun, searching for a longer day. People feeling like the light has just come. We must never stop the way. Yeah. Birds jumping and I hear my name, grasping into a life. Life is happy but it's so insane. We must merely make a start. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a roll. Savannah.
Di setiap team fight, the dream teammate Grab. Kemudian hari ini kita akan saksikan
and brighter. My shoulders are so much lighter. Just for a moment there, I thought that there was nothing more to life. I thought about it, wrote a couple songs about it. Just for a moment there, I lost myself. Mind if I be real for a minute? It's almost like everything I feel had a limit. It now gone past. Finding reasons to smile and to laugh, and whenever it's a bad day, music is my band-aid.
Shago, that was performed by Soeni dan juga Amir Masdi. And now, the moment that everybody has been waiting for. Kedua-dua grand finalist kita sudah bersedia dekat battle station mereka. And they are ready to fight it out in a series of best of 7. But Edu City, are you guys ready?
Absolutely amazing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, fair warning, as we're about to hit turbulence over at the Land of Dawn. Make sure that you're seated with your seats upright, seatbelt fastened, but feel free to scream and go crazy right here at Edu City, Johor. Now, right here, we are jumping straight into the grand finals. Teams have toiled, have bled, have cried for this trophy that stands behind us. 2 teams are about to enter the Land of Dawn, but only one will emerge champion and take the crown. That is MPL MY.
I agree, Cheryl. The vibes here in Edu City is unmatched. And guys, kita ada full house this grand finals. And for that, I want you all to give yourself a big round of applause.
Now this won't do, ladies and gentlemen. We want to not just hear your applause, but we want to hear your screams as well. One more time, Edu City, Johor, where you at? What we're about to witness in a couple of moments' time will be an intense battle, epic gameplays, crazy mayhem is gonna break out at the Land of Dawn. And remember, and don't forget to share all of these wonderful gameplays with your friends, either on socials or even ask them to come on down and join us here at Edu City, Johor.
Yes, Cheryl, I agree. Ini adalah last MPL sebelum kita mulakan M6 yang akan dibuat dekat Malaysia. And guys, I love the crowd. So, I want to ask if our ultras are ready. Selangor Red Giants, I want to hear you guys roar!
Now over on my side, this side, you are the home ground heroes. Give it up for Viva La Bamba!
Pasukan manakah akan menang MPL Malaysia musim ke-14? Will Selangor Red Giants go up against the curse and clinch their first ever back-to-back trophy? Or will Vamos rise from the rumbles and get their first ever MPL Malaysia trophy? Tanpa membuang masa, Cheryl, Jom kita ke caster.
And now, as the drafting phase begins, the grand finals has now been officiated here at Eju City for MPL MY Season 14. Once again, thank you to Rose and as well as Cheryl, as we're going to be bringing it back to the drafting phase. SRG on the blue side, up against Vamos on the red side in this best of 7.
Ooh, what a start! At this point in time, the main two heroes that we have been talking about the whole time has slipped out of the band, at least for now. Suyo, as well as the coveted Ju Sin.
Pick your poison, right? It's all about, you want to win the early game or you want to win a lot of these skirmishes. You want to get some control. So I think if you're Vamos, open up both. Try to ban something that is more targeted towards maybe even Sakai's. Try to ban out the alpha, so you trade over the juice in, pick up the alpha, the Suyo for yourself. That's what you might want to achieve for Vamos.
I mean, they're looking to achieve a lot of things here, and I think that Vamos is making a very smart choice of getting rid of this Phobius. Now, power picks that are open, Suyo sounds like a good idea for SRG, but keep in mind that Loyi is wide open as well. Ooh. 2 strong power picks for Vamos as red side continues to skyrocket in terms of their win rate.
Honestly, it looks kind of scary for the side of SRG, considering the fact that there is a Garukacha that's available as well. So now that the Juicin is given away to the side of SRG, the ball is back onto the court of Vamos. As such, this is what I expected. A Garukacha as well as a Suyo. Great draft all the way through for now. They got great burst, and let's not forget about the fact that Garukacha, he's just plain annoying and does wonders in everything.
Very useful ults as well. I mean, look at the stats here. Vamos leads the league with the highest first turret rates at 58%. And using the Sky Guardian's avatar as a way to zone their opponents is a good idea. But in comparison, SRG has the highest first lord rates amongst all teams with 70%.
And they have the lowest amount of games played as well. Let us remember that, let that really sink in. SRG, they made sure that they have all of these objectives, or rather, most specifically, the Lord. Because every now and then, you know, some teams, they may not want to prioritize the turtle so much, right? But yeah, let's move on. Focusing onto Hylos as well as an alpha pick.
Yeah, this was actually the same draft that SRG picked up against TODAK yesterday in the lower bracket finals. The Loyi was open, but they want to go for the 1-1 first. It's actually honestly a very good option right here, because with the Hylos and with the Alpha, you have a very beefy front line. You can proc the weakness points, giving Alpha the crossbow tank super easily.
Let's not forget about her inbuilt Purify, especially against Lushin. A lot of marksman players have to blow their Purifies to ensure the kill. Wan has an inbuilt one, so this could be pretty dangerous. Now Vamos making sure that they get rid of the counter matchups here, making sure that Irithel is now gone. SRG looking to respond.
So at this point in time, both sides, they have quite some boots to fill, right? So mid lane is definitely something that Vamos will want to look out for. Loyi, we talked about that before. It is still currently open, but for now, Aurora, Vexana, all of these highly contested, not quite picked yet.
I was gonna say Joe, because Zorn's signature pick needs to be taken off. You have to respect that SRG knows they've done their homework. Looking to ban out a lot of the Zorn heroes, and I think for Vamos, it might be possible that they just ban out the Natan right here, because it's been so disastrously. You've already got 2 tanks and 1 kind of semi-tank on that Juicin. You have a beefy front line. Just Nathan has an easy job just whacking onto the back line, but it will be the Claude. Innocent might be a little bit more comfortable on that and taking off the table.
I suppose, yeah, I guess it's getting rid of a comfort pick, right? If they were worried about scaling, Natan probably would have been the choice. Or maybe Vamos is hoping that SRG picks Natan. You can see on Innocent's face, he's not 100% sure about it, right?
Yeah.
Claude over the Natan, they're targeting me, but I don't know what exactly they have in their pockets.
There's definitely this level of confusion onto his face, like, oh, what the hell? But at least when I saw SRG, Coach Arcadia may just opt to just focus ban onto Zon, considering that for the mid lane, there's still so many mages that is currently available. You can't exactly tackle on every single one of these.
You could ban out the Frank. Okay, Franco is being banned out right here. So then Vamos could pick up the Loyi or go for something a little bit more easier to execute. because Loyi is kind of committal. If you want to go into a diversion, you go a little bit too deep, and then you get punished for it. So something like an Aurora or a Vexana might work well. It doubles down well with the Gacha as well. But for SRG, they have a lot of tricks up their sleeves as well. They could pick up a Tigreal, or it could go into the hands of Vamos. Tigreal has been so instrumental in setting up, especially for team fights. But they want to go for the Angela instead. I'm liking this quite a bit. So Angela in the mid lane, it gives a lot of options right here. You could go Angela into the Suyo, but then I don't know.
So they have slow mid for both sides, right?
Yes.
So technically kind of on a pretty okay route for an Angela per se. But when it comes down to, you know, 5v5 or maybe in the later stages, I was really just hoping for, the, you know, AoE heroes, big out hero, considering the fact that you have a Gacha, you have a 1-1. You want some beefy front lines to really be able to knock some people off, be the bruisers for 1-1 so that 1-1 can fly into the air and just execute everyone.
Yeah, Cram could go into the Thamus, maybe. Then Hylos.
I suppose they need.
Yeah, the Tigre and Natanya.
It feels like they want something with vengeance, but at the same time, they can basically, when they're fighting against Vamos, it's a 4+1, right? This Angela is not really going to be in that fight, and is really just supercharging one of their members. And I think that SRG understands that. Hard CC at this point is going to be extremely valuable, scaling as well, because their main conditions are going to be underneath Zushin and as well as Natan. Everybody else is to initiate and to slow down the pace of the game.
All I'm looking out at for the side of Vamos is that they are a very aggressive team, right? Yet the way that they're drafted thus far is not necessarily super hyper aggressive or a lot of damage, right? I can understand, yes, Angela, you are a first blood queen, and if you just kind of go together with your roaming trio, which we haven't really quite seen, okay, never mind, roaming trio, Gacha, Angela, as well as Suyo.
Angela on the CC. Angela on the CC is super scary. You could zone out the Juicin. You could take the hits from the Lantern. You could get thrown left, right, and center, and you just don't care because you're a CC. Build that vengeance or build the revitalize is really up to you.
I don't know. I'm a little shaky on their overall drafts. But with that being said, that's the drafting phase. We're gonna head into the game as we throw it over to your casters. Husky, Staffa, please take it away.
Thank you very much to the desk. Man, I don't know if I'll ever be ready for this moment, but here we are, the pinnacle of MPL Malaysia Season 14, a rematch of the familiar Selangor Red Giants against Team Vamos. Game 1 kicking off with just a little bit. Vamos on the blue side, Selangor Red, Vamos on the red side, Selangor Red Giants on the blue side. I mean, if you are ready to tear up, you better save that for the end of the series. Sadafa, how are you looking at this right now?
I am looking at a very interesting start to the grand finals here in MPL Malaysia Season 14 Playoffs. It is our best of 7 series. So a good start means a good journey. SRG or Vamos, which of them is going to come out on top? I am excited to find out.
We're about to pen the chronicle like never before. Potential for first back-to-back champions and up against the challenges. It's a new empire, but familiar faces. Mid lane priority, of course, going over to Team Vamos with that Gato, Kaja, and Angela. Absolute oppression.
We already see taking a lot of damage in the mid lane. Interestingly enough, Cram and Yooms starting in the mid lane with Stormy taking EXP.
Oh, you're gonna love this, right? You're gonna love the change. Topside down, innocent. Dances with death once more and gets out alive.
That is insane right there, timing the regen just to get that one singular proc. Chibi though.
Can he lift Chibi up in time? Stormy into the turret. It's going to be the decision. And zone around and revitalize ready. That could be an opportunity for it to kind of go off. And we just got to see what happens, right? Seems like it's going to be a bit of a suspense. We're looking down and what's supposed to be a potential first blood as we call this to a halt. But there it is. No first blood will be attained. Stormy gets out with his light. Doesn't even blow the flicker. And I think that's the most important part, Dafa.
Yeah, definitely is the case right now. SRG trying to be a bit more aggro early on. We can see that they specifically even traded lanes in mid and EXP so that Cram wouldn't have to go up against Move.
The two-man Chibi is in the vicinity. Seems like SRG calls a response and the kid so tough to fight against Vamos in this pocket, especially when the hard guard is going to come available for Warlord in just a little bit, right? Level 4 will be that tipping point. Turtle fight going on. Smooth down low. Hard guard ready. Smooth is going to get it. Yums with the flicker pushes Warlord away. Cancel the hard guard transfer, but still, Vamos fights Turtle. Stormy with the ultimate. Here comes Grab to the back line. The guy trying to stay alive with the lift. The guys will get out for now, but Vamos with the snipe. Turtle for Vamos. 2 kills for him.
An impressive play right there with Vamos coming out on top with 2 kills as well as the objective. It seemed like SRG tried to go for a little bit of zoning, but Vamos had a better control overall on how things were going there. And because of that, we can see they're going to have a slight lead early. But it's only 2 minutes in. We still don't know what's going to come next.
And again, when you talk about Team Vamos, it's always about go, go, go. It's always about being fast, being furious, and being able to step on the gas no matter the situation. And in this case, looking at SRG, how can they stop it? We know that there's a good roadblock with the Juice in, but can you stop Team Vamos enough to let the rest of your team kind of come online if you're SRG?
That is the question right now. We can see Vamos is going to be upping the ante right now, already controlling the river area. Chibi with 1 level lead over on Skies. In terms of scaling, we also have to note, Selangor Giants should on paper be a little bit better into the mid game. Vamos, they have a lot of late game scaling, but Chibi alone should sustain more than enough damage to actually take control of a lot of the DPS in the team fights.
Get a stalemate. Innocent once more escapes, this time having used the Purify. You see backup coming in from Yums and Stormy, the guys coming in from the back as well. They need to lift Chibi up though and will not be able to do so. So once more Vamos finds to disengage.
Oh, so far so good here. Network lead still not very different between both teams. And we already know from past history that SRG has a tendency to be a little less aggressive compared to Vamos in the first couple of minutes. So as Vamos, their goal here is to maintain this control going forward and try to snowball as much of a lead as they possibly can.
Only one way to find out SRG have a chance to start this fight. It's going to be Smooth, being drive back, and it's going to use the Vengeance, but unfortunately, he might just end up going down. It's going to be a tough fight though. I mean, Vamos is going to keep on going. In this case, Chibi loses his life. Selangor Red Giants finding opportunity. 4 for them. Turtle still not a team just yet, but SRG might have a chance.
A beautiful team fight there from SRG. Being able to take control of superior positioning. This is what we talk about. Once they find that positioning, once they find that moment, SRG has such powerful team fight capabilities with a Tigreal and a Hylos. Vamos needs to be more careful about the angles of approach they take, because in that situation, they definitely walked into a funnel.
You gotta love the team fighting from SRG, especially in these crucial moments. We know it's the first 5 minutes, but that 1K goalie is gonna be setting the foundations for the team to start building up. And I want to quickly call back to the first moment, right? We see that lane swap. Yums Cram mid side, Stormy bottom side to pressure Smooth. Is this something that you kind of saw coming?
I definitely didn't see it coming, but I wish I did, because it is so smart. We've already emphasized SRG is a team that likes lane priority. They need control over the lanes to make sure that they don't get affected too heavily by aggressive early game teams. And they actually didn't have the best EXP lane matchup here. Cram is a very important player for them in order to maintain some form of early aggression and to zone out the opponents. He roams with them a lot more often compared to other EXP laners, and they cannot afford for him to be trapped in the lane with Smooth, so they switch Stormy over, and it is a genius plan.
And it's paying off. 2K goal advantage. Look at jungle difference. This can be a bit jarring. Sakai's level 10, Chibi just hit 9, but we look at at least 1.5 level difference in terms of experience for the junglers itself. You would expect the Vamos to go faster with this Angela, but it seems like SRG has been able to put a stop to that. You jam the brakes, and now Vamos just speeding ahead, but they're running into a brick wall.
My issue with the draft coming from Vamos here is that while the Angela can combo well with Suyo and CC, they really don't have the heroes that can lock someone in place for nets. We saw the Cho 1-1 combo very frequently towards the end of the regular season because it's so easy to set up that crossbow of Tang. However, there's no solid, reliable form of CC on the Vamos side, which means that it is a complete skill performance coming from nets on this 1-1.
Consume should be detected. Vamos have sharp eyes. So they get forced to the top side, perhaps getting the tier 1, but SRG will find the second turtle and the final one of this game. But SRG, they want to kind of spill that lead elsewhere, right? Find an advantage. The opening might just be close by. They even keep the top turret alive. Best case scenario.
We are starting to see SRG go into their usual patterns. Once they've won 1 or 2 team fights, their ability to rotate and control the map is unparalleled. Vamos is a very momentum-based team, but that doesn't mean that they can't come back from a deficit. 3K in 7 minutes is not actually that bad, especially with a 1-1. If they can get a good crossbow of Tang, then there's always the possibility to make that return, but GB in trouble.
Glorious pathway, Blade Surge, Quell to Evo, and with Warlord ready to support. We'll see if SRG wants to take this. It seems like that will be the option. GB now forced to fight, and it's going to be Stormy trying to lift them up. It might be a 2-4-1. He gets brought back into the sweep, and that's GB gone. Warlord not able to save his jungler.
Oh, very well played here from SRG. Even catching a Suyo normally should be able to escape from situations like that, but the rest of his team was just not nearby to assist him. The rest of the SRG members making sure to keep an eye on them so that they could go as deep as they needed without worrying about potential retaliation.
It's a quick question. I know the panel will bring this up after this game, regardless of the result, but we've always had the notion that we don't really like making mid laners be on Angela, and we are seeing that in effect, right? Warlord just not able to provide much. Flicker out, no hard guard just yet. Mid tier 1 goes down. Is this kind of the pain point that SRG is going to continue going for?
I don't have too much of a personal issue with Angela mid. We've already seen it can work well with the right combo, but I don't think this is the right combo. Warlord as a player has been shifting more into utility mages, so I don't think he's out of his element here. But again, not enough setup for nets to get easy crossbows of Tang, and they're very heavily relying on hard guard to just close things out when SRG are right now in a position with more CC and more damage thanks to their gold lead. Stormy also just finished a Sky Piercer on a Zusin, so that is going to be a pain in the butt to deal with.
With this sword coming in, pressure will mount, but at least Team Vamos, they will find some solace in the bot side, right? An attempt to take down the bot tier 2 will end in nothing, but they caught Zorn. The man that I think we are going to look at from Team Vamos to set up most of the plays because he's the only one with that reliable AoE crowd control, right? You don't want Chibi to be the first one to go in, but situation right now tells us that it's not going to be possible.
Gatot is absolutely not meant to be your main form of initiation. You always need like an EXP laner that can start fights so that Gatot can follow up with the Avatar, the Guardian, just because it's such an unreliable ability. And in this case, you have CC. In cases like this, if you had maybe a mid lane or a jungler that could set up, you could still make it work. But Vamos does not have that. This team composition is highly reliant on getting early momentum, and they were not able to find that.
Since SRG has already planned out that route, it's to the bot side. Chibi will proxy that mid wave, but SRG will do the same. So we got a neutral state down mid side. See if Vamos can defend this though. They need to wait for Chibi to come back. A bit of time. Entropy used. Holy Shield pop is straight with an implosion from Yume to find Cram the kill. Yume will take out Zorn. Chibi now have to do as much as he can. It's going to be the Winter Crown. Cram takes it. They split the damage. And everyone from SRG is going to get out. Warlord wants a commitment. Finally takes out Cram. Stormy to follow. Vamos now once more. But Chibi cannot go on forward. Innocent can. And that is what you want from the star gold laner.
So much forward thinking from SRG. Skies and Cram literally both bought Winter Crown at the same time just about 1 minute ago because they knew that they were planning to go for a base dive and the crossbow of Tang would be a lot easier for nets to set up. Having both of those available means that it just does not matter at all that damage coming out. They definitely didn't need to lose 2 members to that ult from the Suyo, but Innocent turning around and picking up Chibi in return more than makes up for it. A 4k gold lead, double the kill score, and Holy Crystal already completed on this Natan means that SRG are fully in their power spike, and Vamos, they really just need them to make a mistake, otherwise SRG is gonna walk away with this.
They're trying to walk down Team Vamos in their own jungle. Maybe there's an opening with Chibi on the flank. Innocent to be gone on. Here comes the AOG. Chibi forced away. They're going to turn on him. He's alone. He has help. Help arrives. But it doesn't matter, does it? Warlock can't take the trip. And now SRG has 4-5 men burning down mid. Conceal is used. Zoom. 25 seconds until flicker. But Implosion is always ready. Dawn being caught out. Absolutely blown up. Disintegrated by the magic output from Innocent. It's move. He will try, but he's forced to retreat once more.
The panel mentioned how confused Innocent was that they allowed the Natan through and prioritized 1-1. And we are seeing where that confusion comes from. This hero just does so much damage. Chibi tried to go for a flank kill. That doesn't work quite as well on a Suyo, especially if you're behind. Maybe if he was Nolan, he could have been more of a threat. For SRG right now, they are perfectly comfortable.
And Vamos going for a bit of a poking, not poking movement. Second Lord for SRG. The dream scenario up against a Suyo Angela or Angela CC, whatever you want to pit it in this state of the game. Almost 13 minutes in and SRG have not dropped a single beat.
Up 10 kills to 4, 5k gold lead. Lord just claimed. Vamos still is sitting on 3 structures. I don't think this will be the end of them as long as they can hold a solid enough defense, but SRG is just so good at running at your face and hitting you where it hurts.
What's the strategy now for Vamos? Is it to buy time for Nets? Who's the star right now?
I don't think they can afford to buy time for Nets anymore. Nets should be the win condition, but with multiple Winter Crowns completed on SRG, I don't think Vamos has a way out of this. It would require SRG to make a massive misplay just for them to even have a chance.
And again, Flicker, Implosion, the suction from SRG, bring him back. Nets is already eliminated, Warlock taken out. The tyranny of Vamos in game 1, absolutely smarted. 3 more members of Vamos trying to hold on, but with the Lord joining in, and it's gonna be game numero 1 for SRG.
A clean and easy victory there for the Selangor Red Giants. Vamos, there were definitely some holes in their draft. They tried to rely on comfort picks and comfort play, but if your opponent knows exactly what is coming at them, they know how to stop it.
So different from the start that we saw last season where the 4 members of Team Vamos, also known as Homeboys back then, came in swinging. But SRG more than prepared. The loss against TODAK in the upper bracket fight, upper bracket semis, definitely flipped the switch in them. And right now, it is on blaze 100%.
Beautifully played, an excellent game number 1. That's gonna affect the mental just a little bit, but knowing Vamos, they're gonna adapt.
Well, let's hear what the panel has to say because we made predictions and I want to know how correct I am.
Thanks, Husky and stuff. Man, that's something. That's something there. As you can see, our casters are just right beside us. So yes, I would like to say that your predictions are going to be correct, but anything could happen here in Johor Bahru because the Vamos crowd, they ain't having this. First blood does go over to SRG, but I'm sure Vamos is looking for a comeback here. And the question is, where? Because Chibi, man, he got pounded that game.
Yeah, I just want to say, honestly though, it's not Chibi's fault because they have a strategy to go for, because split push wins team fight. It's all back to that basics, fundamental kind of synergy that they have. Chibi was constantly split pushing. If it's not Chibi, it's Nets. If it's not Nets, it's that CC coming in as well. But to be honest though, I want to bring back what Husky said. The playmaker in the mid lane was on an enchanter, does not deal enough damage, and it's always a 2-for-1 special. But of course, Sakai understands this issue, and he is the MVP.
Just constant, consistent pressure is what we need to expect from SRG, especially with a composition that could be potentially super explosive. That's why we see a lot of big shutdowns coming in from this guy, and most importantly, just keeping that back line away. As soon as Nets is about to pop off, Sakai says, nah, I'm not even going to make it close.
Honestly, when the fact fact that Sakai's is pretty much free roaming, especially in team fights, being able to reach to the back lines. I thought that is actually a very interesting part, because one of the main reasons that I will believe that CC is being picked out and drafted in here is just so that the curtain call will be the first thing that touches the alpha. That will enable Nets to be able to free roam and be hyper aggressive. But it does seem like indeed, he is pretty hyper-aggressive, but it's not only Sakai that catches him, there are many other heroes that can eventually catch him indeed.
I think that's fair, but again, Team Vamos, like, I'm looking at their draft and I just do not agree with it. How is this team expected to team fight? How is this team supposed to play technically a man down while still playing purely around Suyo? Smooth needs to win his lane. Zorn, you can basically just all in him because he doesn't have Purify, and if you have long enough CC, he just goes down anyway to the true damage coming in from Sakai's.
Honestly, this kind of feels reminiscent to when Yenlord played as the Gato Gacha. They are all just all-inning onto this Gato Gacha, and it doesn't seem like he has a very good answer to this.
Yeah, honestly though, it was SRG's change in rotation in the early game from minute 1. Knowing that you're facing up against the Angela, what you notice is Cram and Yooms in the mid lane, throwing the Chu Sin, Stormy down in the EXP side. What this gives is two things. Chu Sin can take down that CC, deal so much damage, force CC back, and just snowball the EXP advantage, get that level 4 before that first Lord, and you get that early game split rotation. Stormy's on point. He's built that Sky Piercer as well. So honestly though, from minute number 1, SRG's new rotations coming in. And so honestly, the first time I've seen it in all the regions. What do you think, Gideon?
I think because Jushin is so long range, especially deadly in the early game, especially against CC, well, like, what is CC supposed to do? I think this lane swap was absolutely genius coming in from SRG, really taking from our forefathers before us. Generally, I would imagine that Vamos is going to look in this draft and be like, okay, guys, we kind of messed up here. Like, it did not go well. But also, Jushin probably needs to get banned, especially when you see from SRG's side being the initiator saying, no, we're going to take away Yves and let you decide what we get.
Well, it's luck of the draw. Like, once you're second pick, you either ban both or open both. There's ban one, because like you're just giving it over to them. So it's either Suyu or Jusin, and like we talked about this backstage, Jusin is a monster.
Honestly, it just kind of feels like Vamos is trying to go for a little bit of a gamble, right? Giving away the Jusin. Yeah, we can kind of deal with it.
Like hope Sakai gets the Suyo?
I think it's more of the fact that, yeah, if they want to go give Sakai the Suyo or give Stormy the Jusin, I think it's an either or. The main thing is that they want to guarantee the Gato Gacha as well as another priority pick, and then they kind of like play around that all together. Because honestly, when it comes down to Suyo, he's very self-dependent. He doesn't have to rely on to anyone. But in the meantime, what I see from Vamos' lineup is the fact that they want to enable the 1-1. They will have tanky front lines. They want to have survivability. They want to win lanes onto the side of EXP just so that they can open up the mid lanes as well. But it doesn't seem like it worked out, because I feel that really the Jusin rotation was what really put the final nail in the coffin for Vamos.
Yeah, I like the ideas that Vamos is thinking of. I like the small interactions, especially from coming in from Nets as well. He did opt to go for pull yourself together as one of his emblems as well, just to make sure that he can have that inspire consistently off cooldown when they need to fight. Although it really goes to show that Vamos was being really greedy in the draft. I think that Pobs has to pull it back a little bit here. Really start focusing on what's important for the composition and build a core before he starts thinking about, hey, I want this, I don't want this for your team, and I want everything. I just think it's too greedy.
Yeah.
Greediness is definitely what Vamos maybe you would want to go for, because I mean, they are an aggressive team. I want to go all in. It's all in the early game and just kind of like...
I guess, but at the same time, I would have wished to see, like, at the very least...
A bit conservative? A little bit more conservative?
Nah, get rid of this Angela. This Angela isn't it.
You know, on the contrary, though, Vamos was actually very, very aggressive, especially on the gold lane. You've seen Nets a couple of times almost taking Innocent down, and Innocent at the end of the game only had, like, I think, 1 or like 0 deaths. I can't remember this, but like in the very, very early game, it was just 1 hit away every single time Nets coming in, but just Innocent outplaying that micro game on his own lane.
could this have changed in the second phase? I feel like in terms of it really just boils down to draft, right? In terms of like micro and macro, I would like to say yes, there were a couple of outplay moments, especially for humans with some really big engagers overall, but he's got so many free targets. Angela did not take Purify. Zorn has to use AOG to get on out of there. If not, he basically dies. Nets has an inbuilt Purify, but then we cut back to Smooth and he's like, nah, he's not a main target, so he doesn't need the Purify. At the end of the day, I feel like SRG has gotten Vamos beat right from minute 1, as you mentioned, Churros. So let's talk about adaptations coming into game number 2, because Vamos most likely gonna go to blue side.
Yep, okay, so with the fact that if they were to go to blue side, it's kind of still on the court on the side of SRG. Do they want to ban the Juicy? Do they want to ban the Suyo? All these kind of games is what makes the drafting part really fun. And so far, when it comes down to, I believe, when it comes down to Vamos, they are very happy with using either or, the Juicin or the Suyo, but there is still definitely quite a bit of priority when it comes down to the Cho, Gatokacha, so the B1, B2 and B3 pick is still something that we definitely want to look out for.
I think always pay attention to early game tempo, especially since like you want to try to go for the kills or try to zone out for objectives. SRG seems like, okay, I don't really need those kills in the early game. I'll just wait till Innocent comes online and then we start that snowball action going in. Vamos was a little bit too over-aggressive. They're always going in, always hunting for the kills, and they're always bloodthirsty.
I guess I can kind of see the idea here. I think that SRG played the first 3 minutes, I think for both teams, really crucial 3 minutes to actually find that lead. But unfortunately, the rich guy, the carry, obviously going over to Innocent as Karam and Sakai's take Sandbag and best wingman. Of course, main idea is just play around Innocent as well as Zushin, Sakai's in that mid lane, find those big chunks and whittle them down. Outlasting their opponents just feels so easy to do when you've got that high loss on your side, and Alpha, who is already gaining a lot of space and more importantly gaining a lot of tempo. And this is what I want to boil it down to. I feel like even if we're not talking about the drafts, the tempo felt really good from SRG. You want to see Vamos kind of like bounce back. SRG is immediately there to respond.
Honestly, when it comes down to tempo, it really felt as though Vamos would have been able to take the early fights and be able to do something about that. They got great counter engager or even engagement if you want to talk about AOG. When it comes down to the hard guard from the side of Angela, I thought that that would be enough to kind of save people in the 5 minutes mark and so on and so forth, but there's just way too much progression from the side of SRG for Vamos to realistically be able to drag the game a little bit longer, even though I don't think that is their purpose, but it's more of like beat the lanes down and then we push everything clean.
And one thing I want to point out is that this item build actually tells us a lot of the story. The only player to get their first power spike is Nets coming in the gold lane. This shows a lot about Innocent and Nets laning phase, where Nets was always taking control, Nets was always pushing in the turrets, and it kind of seems like SRG doesn't really mind that Innocent stays on top alone. And how many times have you remembered the entirety of SRG coming up to help Innocent? Not a lot. And they're always coming down to the EXP side, win the EXP lane, push it in, make sure that CC can't get that farm to protect Chibi, and then Chibi's just like a stray animal just walking around on his own, just trying his best to split push, proxy that wave down, and there was nothing much that 1-1 could do to capture that snowball effect and scale to the late game.
Yeah, I think that SRG took a really good approach here. Macro-wise, first 3 minutes really, really important. But even so, I would say that like Innocent, had he died once in that lane, it could have skewed it into the favor of Vamos. Honestly, yeah. Because then now it's like, okay, now I don't have to just hard guard Chibi. I have a second out to actually play around. Although I will say that 1-1, as of right now, doesn't feel like she is the best scaler in the world. Teams like to play it because at the very least you're able to kind of dodge a lot of these assassins, and especially well in this particular matchup when you're up against an Alpha and as well as the Tigreal as well as the High Loss. I would like to kind of stay back. That's why I think the Angela should change maybe into Aurora. That'd be a good idea. But keep in mind, we've hit our next
Pew, pew, pew. Jago, 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 Jago.
This is all thanks to you guys.
Jago,
All you.
Jago.
Man, Sanafa is just inside there. Yeah, get in here. Thank you so much for letting us hit our next PCU goal. I was not expecting us to break last season's one with 631,000 of you checking out MPL MY. Let's keep the score going. This is only game number 1.
Game number 1 only.
And
It's all the way up, guys.
yeah, it's only up from here. It's going to be a marathon, and we're hoping that Vamos at least is going to bounce back. Speaking of which, we do need to see adjustments. I really hope they don't go back to the Angela, because man, when you have a phone like the ROG Phone 8, which is by the way the official gaming phone of the MPL MY Season 14, that has helped the pros to consistently be at the top of their game, it feels really bad when you only press 2 buttons when you can honestly abuse retaining the crown as the king of performance. It now comes with a sleek new design and improved cameras as the ROG Phone 8 goes beyond gaming. I'm just saying, put him on something more mechanically intensive, more so, at the very least, put him on an Aurora, Faramis even. Take Purify, it's not that hard.
I'm gonna cut off the conversation for a little bit because I gotta have to say that was a smooth segue in and out. Sorry, I digress, but that was amazing.
Thank you. But still,
okay.
I need an answer on this because right now, Vamos, again, giveaway game number 1, not that big of a deal. It's a best of 7 anyways.
Yeah, okay, at least for the side of CC, I can definitely back it up, right? I will say that, okay, there is a reason for this, there's a reason for that. But when it comes down to the Angela, I personally say that there are definitely great users of Angela, especially when it comes down to global presence as well as split pushes. But this is not necessarily something that Malaysians like to do, which is global presence and split push macro kind of thing. So it's very uncharacteristic of Vamos.
All right. With that being said, Churros, do you have any final words before you send you off here? We've got a WhatsApp text here. Please, by all means.
Yeah, I just want to say that, man, this is going to be a very interesting series. I'm going to watch it backstage because this is going to be a heck of a game. I want to bring a new analyst to see what he has to say about this as well.
All right, let's get that new fresh opinion on the board. But quickly, how did the team manage to adapt so quickly? We asked SRG Yums, and he said, when we lost to TODAK, we realized the pick-on meta was no longer relevant, so we just switched immediately to the revitalized meta. We had already learned this meta during the 2 weeks before playoffs. 1 week we trained with sustained meta, 1 week we trained with pick-off meta. That's actually kind of interesting. Now, here at the desk, Deadeye, our new analyst for, a fresh new take on the look here. Do you agree with this? Is the pick-off meta dead? Is double revitalize the way to go just to sustain?
I mean, well, I'm going to compare it to MPL SG. We did a double revitalize, and it actually turned the battle around in one clutch play. The base itself is only 1 hit because of the double revitalize. It just sustained the team fight, turn around the battle, and make it a comeback.
All right, that's fair enough, but we got to ask the hard-hitting questions. SRG versus Vamos, which team is better in a Swiss format? Abstract, I'm going to lead with you on this one. What do you think?
Man. This is kind of like a tough question, isn't it?
It's a bit of a loaded question, to be fair.
I mean, honestly, both teams, they have their pros and cons. SRG, I would say that they are pretty consistent, right? So no matter how they play, they will want to adapt as much as possible, but it's a little bit more detrimental to them because they need time to adapt, as we saw from the entirety of the MPL MY. In the meantime, Vamos, they have this very linear gameplay. We run it down to you. If you don't have an answer to our head-on approach, then you go down. So at least for Vamos, we play our own game. You have to stoop down to our level to really contest against us.
Do you agree with this, Deadeye? Because, I mean, IESF World Esports Championships 2024 it's just around the corner with the MLBB men's division happening between the 12th to 15th of November and the women's division the 16th to 19th November. And out of those 88 countries, only 16 will arrive in Saudi Arabia. Only 1 will be crowned as the world champion. So tune in and support MY teams. But coming back to it, as a Swiss format, I'm thinking of consistency. Do you think that Vamos and SRG have what it takes? If not, who has better odds?
Consistency, I think it's going to be adaptability. Again, we talked about this one yesterday, right? Of course, Team Vamos, they had adapted very well when it comes to their play style. I mean, from the early game strategies they have always been doing, like being aggressive. This time around, they try to adapt here to be a long game. now it is one of the spices they want to achieve here. But unfortunately, of course, SRG, again, on the playoffs in the day 2, they have lost their way in. And now, suddenly, you mentioned this one, guys. What happened? Adaptability. They just regained momentum once again. Being aggressive from the hunkered down strategy now became aggressive again. This is just shows that Swiss format, you don't know what team you are facing. It's about how you change your play style against your facing.
Taking your point here of adaptability, for Vamos coming into this game number 2 against SRG, especially when you're on blue side, what is the opener we're expected to see? I'm just going to assume that Jushin is not going to see the light of day because SRG knows how powerful it is. So what does that mean for Vamos? Are they still going to lean into Chibi, or do they start playing for different outs? For an example, Smooth has been giving a lane dominant hero in game number 1. I would say that even Nets technically wanted to get a lane dominant hero in game number 1 as well. Do they just play for their side lanes?
Side lanes, I think, personally, again, for me,
see what adaptations we shall expect with Vamos as expected on the blue side up against SRG. Currently 1 point on them on the red side. Fanny, high loss. As the first 2 bans from Vamos, Chip of course from SRG.
Now, being the first pick team from the side of Vamos, like you said, we take away the Juicin, we take away the Chip.
Barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways.
Roaring in the morning sun, searching for a longer day. People feeling like the light has just come. We must never stop the way. Yeah. Birds chirping and I hear my name. Grasping into a life. Life is happy but it's so insane. We must merely make a start. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah. divana.
And then now we are constantly fighting each other. Since 3 seasons already actually that we are meeting in grand final. I will never
nak bincangkan sebenarnya adalah video tadi, mana it brings a lot of memories. Antaranya macam mana coach Pops dan juga Ozarveki pernah satu pasukan dekat dalam SEA Games, and you know I feel a bit of a connection sebab kita orang pun terlibat dalam selection tersebut dan it did well. And ini adalah grand final kedua Nets, mana Nets antara semua orang dekat pasukan Vamos, Nets tak pernah lagi angkat trofi MPL. Dan
ada dekat grand final dan juga persada seperti MPL MY ini kan, banyak ataupun pelbagai external factors perlu diambil kira dan juga motivating factor, seperti mana yang kita dah tengok VT tadi, bagaimana Selangor Red Giants daripada Stormy mengharapkan coaches dia untuk berikan yang terbaik supaya dapat back to back champion, manakala untuk Vamos, Tafel pun dah ungkapkan sebentar tadi, kesemua ahli pemain pasukan Vamos nak hadiahkan Nets juara pertamanya di MPL MY. Jadi faktor-faktor ini nampak macam kecil, nampak macam tak memberi impact, nampak macam tak memberi makna. Namun di dalam pasukan tersendiri, baik Vamos ataupun Selangor Giants, it's a very huge factor sebenarnya.
Dia bila bermain di atas pentas bukan sekadar bermain, tetapi apabila ada misi yang diterapkan, ini yang menyebabkan mereka mampu untuk menunjukkan prestasi lebih daripada 100%. Dan itu yang kita nak saksikan daripada kedua-dua pasukan ini.
Saya rasa kalau kita bercakap tentang misi, kedua-dua pasukan mempunyai misi yang berbeza seperti yang dikatakan oleh Adin dan Kuri, misi untuk Vamos menghadiahkan MPL kepada Nets. misi pasukan Selangor Giant, back-to-back champion, misi sebagai penyandang juara pasukan MSC tampak lebih tinggi daripada pasukan Vamos, tetapi as long ada misi, itu paling penting.
Benar sekali. Jadi kita kena mengambil sedikit masa sebelum kita masuk ke dalam game yang kedua sebentar sahaja. Nanti buat pasukan Vamos kan, saya sangat berbangga kepada mereka sebenarnya, dan juga saya respect kepada mereka bagaimana perjalanan mereka pada musim kali ini bukanlah permulaan yang paling indah, tetapi dengan kematangan mereka, kematangan coaches mereka, kematangan managers, owners dan tak kira sesiapa pun yang berada di dalam organisasi Vamos, mereka berjaya untuk mengharungi perkara tersebut minggu by minggu, dan kini Grand Finals telah dicapai oleh mereka. Mungkin KPI tu dah dicapai, tapi sekarang it's all out. Dah tak ada apa-apa penyesalan. Let's go all the way out and tengok kita boleh pergi sejauh mana.
Dan tak dilupakan juga, Vamos kita boleh katakan pasukan yang konsisten tanpa lelah daripada musim Liga sehinggalah kepada playoff. Melihat bagaimana mereka menjadi pasukan yang pertama sampai kepada Grand Finalist kita tanpa ada kejatuhan langsung.
Okey, apa kata kita pergi kepada perbincangan M6 kita tadi, pada awal tadi itu. Kita tahu Swiss round dan juga kita ada tanya pasal antara Vamos ataupun Selangor Giants, manakah pasukan yang terbaik untuk peringkat Swiss round ini. Tapi Lafal, daripada sudut pandangan awak, pengalaman awak dengan begitu banyak, apa strategi yang terbaik untuk kalau kita nak berhadapan dengan Swiss format ini? Adakah main 2-0, 3-0 terus, ataupun adakah tidak strategi untuk kita kalah dulu ke, ataupun bagaimana?
Jujur cakap, saya dah jumpa macam-macam pasukan, macam-macam player. Ada je pasukan yang dorang cuba predict siapa menang, siapa kalah, dan cuba ikut markah yang sama supaya boleh jumpa dengan orang tersebut. Tapi saya rasa disebabkan setiap round kita akan redraw. Saya rasa strategi itu akan sukar untuk dilakukan. Jadi saya rasa strategi yang sesuai sebenarnya adalah di mana focus on yourself. Sebab you nak prepare dengan berapa, 15, 16 pasukan yang lain. Strategi itu dia akan overwhelming. Kita akan start overthinking sampai kita nampak kesilapan seperti Selangor Giants. Terlampau kreatif sangat kat draft. Last tak menjadi. Dan sekarang kita tengok MPL MY Grand Finals since Season 7.
Yang di mana sentiasa kita melihat persaingan yang cukup hebat di antara nombor 1 dan juga nombor 2. Kecuali lah pada musim yang ke-8 dan juga musim yang ke-11. Tapi kalau tak salah ini sebab kita bertugas.
Tak juga sebenarnya.
Bukan,
tak, tapi nampak 5 kali TODAK dekat Grand Final.
This is why they are the icon team dekat Malaysia sekarang ini.
The face of MPL Malaysia.
The face of MPL Malaysia.
Chico menjadi legenda.
Chico menjadi legenda. Kalau dah 5 kali kat Grand Final,
I mean, what more could you want? Itu menjadi benchmark untuk mana-mana tim sebenarnya. Tapi, yes, kita appreciate the past, but kita kena tengok juga the present and the future. Di mana Selangor Giants Season 13 Grand Finalist dan juga Champion. Season 14 Grand Finalist, dan belum lagi kita tahu siapakah yang akan juara. Adakah ini permulaan Grand Finalist yang baru juga sebenarnya, yang mungkin boleh bersaing rapat dengan pasukan TODAK?
Kalau ikut trend ni 4-2, 4-0, 4-1. Lepas tu 4-2
faham.
4-0, 4-3 sebab saya bertugas. Lepas tu masuk kali ni 4-2. Adakah keputusan akan sama 4-0?
Awak bertugas, Mars pun bertugas, tapi tempat yang berbeza.
No, sama. Awak yang bertugas
tak. Sama. Saya rasa confirm 4-3.
Tak apa.
Saya bukan nak kata apa. Okay. Ini inside joke antara kita semua lah.
Okay.
Baru game pertama, apa dah jadi? Baru game pertama, apa dah jadi? Kita tahu kita ada legacy masing-masing. Ada bila pairing ni bekerja, what can go wrong will go wrong.
Kita just nak double confirm lah. Semalam awak punya jadual game 1 bukan?
Game 1-3.
Mars saya tak pasti adakah dia game 2-3 ataupun
1-3 juga.
Sama juga.
Game kedua tak ada benda.
Tak, impact selalu dekat game final.
Yalah.
Dia pada hari yang penting je.
Kita dah kena start buat satu agenda baru untuk musim kali ni atau musim yang akan datang.
audience mungkin tak faham, tapi korang tak boleh. Kalau korang boleh rasa betapa panasnya hati ni, bapak.
Lagi panas orang yang berada dekat luar. Yang beratur nak masuk sebab kita full house tau.
Betul.
Beratur daripada pukul 9 pagi. Pintu buka pukul 1:30.
1:30.
Sorry, counter buka pintu buka 1:30. Pukul 12 beratur daripada pukul 9 ni. Pukul 11:30 tiket dah habis.
Macam ni lah. Kita ramai, kita buat janji, kita try convince Muton, lain kali buatlah kat mana pun, biar besar sikit.
Betul. Why not kita convince sekarang ni bagi kod giveaway. Bagi kod giveaway sekarang untuk semua orang yang hadir, semua yang menonton, supaya kita semua again nak appreciate all of our fans yang datang daripada pukul 9 pagi, 8 pagi. Kita nak demand daripada Muton sekarang. A code giveaway. Skin ke, diamond ke,
terus saja ni.
sekarang juga. Now. We want it now.
Alright, tapi
saya ada pun.
Kita dah ada team Robin Hood. Sekarang ni caster pun ada nak menjadi Robin Hood juga.
Saya akan perjuangkan kesemuanya.
Tapi sebelum tu kita ada one of the most banned hero in this grand final yang saya menjagakan Jushin Suyo lah. Tak. Chip.
Baru saya nak bagi jawapan yang paling straightforward lah sebenarnya. But itu, I mean, it goes without saying. Tapi Jushin Suyo pun sebenarnya is a very good.
Suyo mungkin lah antara yang flex mungkin orang akan lepaskan. Tapi Jushin tu, entah. Dia menarik sebab dua-dua coach ni, diorang macam berani nak lepas supaya diorang dapat juga lagi satu.
Okay, dalam pendapat saya, antara Suyo dan juga Jushin lagi suka nak dihadapi berbanding dengan Suyo. Sebab kalau dah menggunakan Jushin, dia boleh jaga diri sendiri. Dia kebal, dia mampu memberikan tekanan, ada yang team fight. Manakala kalau mengambil Suyo, bagi pendapat saya, memerlukan bantuan untuk melakukan pick-off, melakukan set-up, mendapatkan kill. Jadi, ianya juga memerlukan tambahan resources. Dan ianya bukanlah sebagai satu package sahaja, dah pun sempurna.
Saya nak bagi satu scenario kat anda semua dah sebenarnya kan. Kalau tiga hero ni bebas, siapa kat worthy of first pick? Suyo, Eve dan juga Jushin. Masih lagi Jushin.
Walaupun Eve tu counter Jushin. Tapi dengan ni, kita sebenarnya nak kenal juga kita punya casters. Jadi, dekat sini kita nak cakap Sunfrost dengan Mars tengah buat apa tu?
Asal lah nak salahin kita.
Itulah tu. Dia daripada tadi borak-borak orang tua apa kat sana, Mas?
Tak suka lah.
Kita bersama dengan warga-warga muda dekat sini.
Warga muda kat sini. Awal lahir tahun 2000? 2002. Saya tahun
bulan 12.
Saya 2014.
2014. Macam lain ya, Mas?
Saya reborn.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Saya dapat rasa lah apa orang rasa season lepas.
Kan? Tapi inilah dia perencah terutamanya untuk anda. Kita akan break sebentar dan kita akan jumpa selepas ini dalam perlawanan kedua Vamos Selangor Red Giants.
Tak kisah jago sukan apa jua, jagokan lagi dengan rangkaian 5G termantap dan tanpa lag. Gaming sepantas kilat. Menang di Land of Dawn. Tukar ke Holling Prepaid 5G sekarang.